He walked into the courtroom like a breath of fresh air in the middle of a suffocating trial. Deontay Nash, celebrity stylist, glamorous presence, bold personality. But behind the charm and bursts of laughter, his testimony sent chills through the room. Because what he had to say about Diddy and Cassie wasn't lighthearted gossip. It was a shockwave, a glimpse into the darkness fame can conceal. Deontay wasn't a stranger to Bad Boy's inner circle. He had worked closely with the star couple for nearly 10 years, from 2008 to 2018. Almost every day with Cassie, weekly encounters with Diddy. He knew them behind the scenes, far from the spotlights and red carpets. On the stand, he spoke naturally. He didn't refer to Diddy or Sean Combs. To him, it was simply Puff, a nickname you use when the illusion is long gone. And that's what made his words hit harder, because Deontay wasn't delivering gossip. He was recounting what he had seen, heard, lived. He called Cassie baby girl, Cass, but Diddy used other names, vicious insults, bitch, slut, hoe, words hurled repeatedly, casually, even in front of others. Deontay made it clear, these words tore Cassie down. She would go quiet, she'd cry, stay home, shut herself off from the world, and that was only the beginning. Diddy didn't stop at humiliation. He made threats. He told Cassie he would leak sex tapes. He threatened to send them to her parents. He allegedly threatened to beat her. He warned her that her music would never be released. And at one point, according to Deontay, he even threatened her family, though he didn't elaborate. And Diddy enforced it all. He controlled everything, where she went, who she saw, even how she wore her hair. Deontay, despite being close to her, wasn't exempt. Puff reportedly told Cassie not to go out with him, that she needed to bring herself home, that she needed to obey. What Deontay described wasn't just a possessive man. It was a climate, psychological domination, constant pressure, a cage that didn't need bars. And in a criminal trial built on allegations of sexual abuse and coercion, his testimony helped answer the key question: why didn't Cassie leave sooner? Why did she endure this for years? Because Diddy had made sure she couldn't escape. Because he had sealed every exit. But that wasn't the only bombshell of the day. That same morning, jurors had been rattled by a very different thread: the attack on Kid Cudi. Yes, the rapper, the man who once dated Cassie. According to prosecutors, he was targeted as revenge. On December 22, 2011, his home was broken into. His black Porsche was firebombed, allegedly with a Molotov cocktail. Was it a warning? Prosecutors think so. That morning, LAPD officer Christopher Agnocio took the stand. He described responding to a suspicious activity call outside a home in the Hollywood Hills. It was 8:20 in the morning. As he arrived on scene, something immediately caught his attention. A black SUV, an Escalade, parked near the property. The windows were heavily tinted. He couldn't see inside, but he remembered the license plate. At the time, he didn't realize this detail would later tie back to a bigger revelation: that this very vehicle was registered to Bad Boy Productions, Inc., the company belonging to Sean Combs. With his partner, Agnocio entered the home. No one was there. But what they found spoke volumes: luxury gifts, unwrapped, watches, Chanel bags, high-end items spread across the kitchen. Kid Cudi had testified that when he left the house, those gifts were untouched. Someone had been there, someone who wasn't supposed to be. As they exited the house, the black Escalade reappeared, this time driving slowly through the neighborhood. The vehicle's movements echoed a claim made the previous day by Capricorn Clark, that she, Diddy, and Ruben had chased Kid Cudi in an Escalade, then returned later. Coincidence or confirmation? But the day's revelations didn't stop there. Next on the stand was Lance Jimenez, An arson investigator with years of experience, he described examining the scene. Cudi's black Porsche parked by the garage, its roof sliced open. Inside, a glass bottle lay on the console, filled with gasoline. Draped over it, a designer-like silky cloth. The smell of fuel still lingered. To Jimenez, the signs were unmistakable. This wasn't an accident. It was a deliberate act. Someone had crafted a Molotov cocktail, cut through the car's roof, and launched the device inside. The fire, he said, was surprisingly contained, but it could have been catastrophic. If things had gone differently, the entire garage, maybe even the home, could have been destroyed. Jurors leaned in. Details were stacking up. The vehicle, the gifts, the bottle, the intent. All roads pointed back toward a calculated act of retaliation. But the courtroom's most dramatic moment didn't come from a testimony. It came from a document that no longer existed: the fingerprint cards. After the break-in, Kid Cudi had submitted fingerprint samples, but somehow those cards had been destroyed. When prosecutor Mary Slavic asked Jimenez about it, the defense erupted. Objections flew. The jury was temporarily excused. Behind closed doors, the defense was furious. They argued that suggesting the destruction of evidence would plant a dangerous idea in the jury's mind, that Diddy, or someone close to him, was behind it. They called it prejudicial. They demanded a mistrial. The judge refused, but everyone in that courtroom knew. The words had already been spoken. The suggestion had landed, and even if the jury was instructed to forget it, they were human. Could they really unhear it? When the jury returned after that tense recess, the atmosphere had changed. This was no longer just a trial. It was a psychological war zone, one where every word, every breath, every silence could tilt the scales. And Deontay Nash's testimony, though wrapped in occasional humor, returned with unexpected weight. What stood out wasn't just what he said, it was how he said it. Calm, measured, like someone who had nothing to prove because the truth was heavy enough. He wasn't there to dramatize. He was there to confirm what too many had suspected and what others had feared to say. This wasn't just about name-calling. It was about structure, a daily life built on submission, a relationship ruled by fear, not love, a lifestyle where fame acted like a curtain, hiding domination, humiliation, and psychological warfare. As Deontay described the way Diddy controlled Cassie, dictating where she went, what she wore, how she looked, who she could see, the question became impossible to ignore. How could she have left? The answer echoed through his words. She couldn't. And when you connect that to the firebombing of Kid Cudi's car, the chilling pattern becomes clearer. This wasn't random. This wasn't chaos. It was a system built on fear, enforced by power, and maintained by silence. One by one, the puzzle pieces locked into place. The black Escalade? It existed. It was there, and it was registered to Bad Boy. The unwrapped luxury gifts? There, exactly as described. The Molotov cocktail? Real, constructed, deployed. The threat? Tangible. The fingerprint cards? Gone, destroyed. Each element on its own might have raised an eyebrow, but together they told a story not of isolated incidents, but of a culture, a legacy, a pattern of control, intimidation, and destruction. And in the center of it all, a man too powerful to be questioned for decades, now being held to account. And a stylist, standing under oath, finally telling the truth, fabulous, flamboyant, and fearless,